In this video, we're going to talk about how to effectively use a tuner on trombone. I'd like to play a little excerpt from the David concertino, and this is a scale-wise excerpt, and I'm looking at tuning the internal notes, the notes that are within the middle parts of these scales, to make sure that those are perfectly in tune. Now this little tiny excerpt provides us an example whereby I'm approaching the A natural, which is in second position, from the two different available directions. The first time up the scale, I approach the A from G, which means the slide is coming in toward second position. Now on my way down, I'm approaching the A from first position, so my slide is moving out. And how the note is approached is very meaningful to a trombone player, because you might have a different tendency depending on the context of the pitch, and it's important to realize that. I'm going to play this exercise once again in slow motion so you can really see what I'm talking about. Notice on the way up, my slide is coming into second, and on the way down, my slide is going out to second. Now, here's how you can use a tuner to the best benefit. Okay, so here you see our tuner. I'm going old school here. Now you can certainly use an app or Tonal Energy, which is a great device, although it's so sensitive sometimes it can be frustrating. I like this one because of the the green light, and knowing that when you have green and red on, it means that you're at least within range. So first I'll show you what it sounds like to have your tuning note right in tune. You'll see that green light turn on and stay on. Watch the needle at 0. So the first order of business is that you really need to be able to do that, to sustain a pitch and hold it exactly at the right pitch. Now, as we were discussing, we're actually tuning the second position A. So I'm going to isolate just that note and get it in tune, starting with B flat and going down to A half step. Now, while that is helpful, and it helps you understand exactly where that second position is, to tune the note in context, as I said, is far more beneficial and meaningful to a trombone player. So I'm going to play our excerpt from the David, and the last note happens to be an A. So I'm going to stop on the last note and see where I am. Okay, that's not bad. That last note was coming down to second. And the others you couldn't really tell because they went by so fast. The other note that you could register was the highest note, which I think registered as a C sharp, and that one was pretty well in tune. Well, that happens to be in second position. Now here's the trick that I'd like to show you. To tune the A on the way up, play the excerpt up to that note and then stop and hold that note, like this. You can see I was a little bit high. I actually brought it down. Let me try that again. Well, that's not too surprising, because when you're coming in and you're going really fast like that, well, you get some momentum going. And it's very typical to go too far by virtue of the fact that you have some momentum. So I've overcompensated a little bit. And you can see what I'm doing here. I'm kind of playing around with this idea. You can target any note you want. There's the G I'm not getting out far enough. So there's the C, it's a little bit high. So you can take this procedure and apply it to virtually any situation to figure out what your tendencies are. I wanted to tell you one more thing to look out for. In certain keys, you have to go from second position, skip over third position, and go to fourth. The excerpt that I was just playing is a really good example of that. So the key of B flat, for example, the key of F. It's human nature, actually, sometimes to want to make the slide positions equidistant, an equal distance from each other. And that's rarely true. In fact, as you know, slide positions are not equidistant from one another ever. But especially when you're going from first to second and then out to fourth. If I were to play 16th notes sort of going back and forth, here's what might happen. Well, that A is not in tune. You have to listen really carefully to pick up on that. But what I'm doing is I'm basically cutting the distance between first and fourth kind of in half in an approximate sort of way. And you know, the notes go by so fast, like I said, you have to listen pretty carefully to hear this. So is that A natural or is it A flat? Well, pick one, right? So if I want to play A natural, I have to stop in second and then move really fast and farther to get out to the G. If it's A flat, I have to adjust accordingly. So a good drill would be to try going back and forth and see if you can hear and feel the difference. So be on the lookout for situations which might trip you up in that way. Make sure that you're genuinely playing either second or third position.